Hi, everyone. Life Coach Carissa here. I am back with you today to talk about a topic that is so crucial to our emotional health. This is called Their Behavior is Not About You. I will be sharing some key takeaways to reinforce how the behavior of others is not your problem to solve or for you to use against yourself. And when you learn to accept this, you will reduce your own self-imposed suffering. All right. So this comes up for so many of us, right? I know this comes up a lot in my coaching sessions with individuals. In addition to my own one-on-one client sessions, each month I listen to so many hours of one-on-one client coaching. I do this for, ongoing learning and to expand my knowledge and to improve my skills. And a high percentage of these calls have an underlying circumstance where someone else has said or done something that has triggered that individual and they are grappling with it, right? It connected with them in some way, and now they are suffering because of it. People around us act in certain ways, and our brains instantly try to make sense of it. We allow the behavior of others to take up so much space in our brains. On one hand, we may spend so much time thinking about what they said or did. We ruminate about it, and then we use it against ourselves to judge or pick apart what maybe we did wrong. On the other hand, sometimes our primitive brain will take over and we will get extremely defensive and feel the need to go to war to defend ourselves. So I would venture to bet that there isn't many of us that have not found ourselves in this situation at one point in time or another. Now, before I learned a lot of the mindset tools that I have implemented and practiced and repeated over and over again, I was not managing my mind. And so I was doing this as well. I was observing the actions of others and I was taking it personally. I was trying to make sense of why they would act this way towards me, or why would they say that thing? I would look for what must be wrong with me. And of course, if I wasn't tearing myself apart, then I was on the other side and I was getting defensive, right? Ready to go to war because what they're saying is wrong. Now, I know so many of you may feel so attached to this belief, and you may have this one scenario you're already thinking of where you're like, but no, they were wrong and I was right and this was justified. And I know you're going to maybe try to convince me otherwise, that the ways that they're acting is directly against you, or they may be attacking you, or they're saying something about you that is just absolutely not true. Sometimes we'll use the behavior of others and we'll use our kids. Like, we can't accept someone acting this way around our children. We'll get very justified in our reasons for defending it, to go against what they're doing and letting them know it's wrong and to fight that war. We'll feel very justified, and sometimes we'll use others as our reasoning. But I'm telling you, there's another way. It's like we skip a crucial step in the process, which is pausing and asking ourselves some very important questions. What exactly is this person saying about me? Is there any truth whatsoever to what they are saying? Have I behaved poorly in some way? We skip all the logic and we go to acting strictly on emotions. We know why this happens. I talk about it all the time. We all have a primitive brain that is focused on keeping us safe and watching out for threats. So it's just doing its job. But we can get better at managing our primitive brain. We do this by intentionally going into our intelligent brain and activating our logic and our thinking ability. And we can usually do this by having just a core statement or a repetitive thought, an anchor thought that we can say to ourselves that will make us pause. Just pause long enough to look at the situation differently. All right, so I want to give you some key takeaways when we're talking about the behavior in others and how we take this on as something we need to solve, okay? Number one, you don't need to agree with how others behave. Let's break this down. Why is it that we think we know the right way? To think this way is such a small-minded view. We all come from different backgrounds, locations, experiences. the exposures that we've had, that determines how we view the world. Why do we think that we have to correct everyone? I believe a big driver is that there is a part of us that thinks their behavior is saying something about us. So we defend and we want to change them. We will never win this battle. Sure, maybe you'll defend yourself and then perhaps the relationship will end or be fractured. Is that the solution that your intelligent brain really wanted you to go after when this all began? Or is that the primitive brain just taking you on a journey that you are not in emotional control of? All right, the next takeaway is to know your triggers. We all have something that triggers us, and this is different for each and every one of us. One person can be highly impacted by one person's behavior, and another one couldn't be the slightest bit affected. Why is that? It's the different experiences, the different viewpoints. So look for patterns of behavior that you try to control. What do you get most annoyed by? What rattles you the most? Maybe it's a fear that you have, and so this causes you to project judgment on others. Maybe you experienced something at some point in your life, and this action that someone else is taking reminds you of that moment when it didn't feel good. Your primitive brain will tell you to watch out. We didn't like the way that felt, and this feels similar. Protect yourself. Once you see the patterns, you can begin to gain some self-control over them. You can begin to change if you wish. You can choose when and how you want to react instead of your autopilot behaviors kicking in. All right, takeaway 3, think about how it feels to be truly accepted. Recall a time in your life when you were not accepted. How did it feel? Did you like being told to change? Would you like being told that your way is wrong? You're doing it wrong. You shouldn't have said that. Why'd you say that? If the other person is behaving poorly, that does not mean that you should match their tone and energy. Really think about that. How does lowering your emotional vibration do anything to improve that interaction or the relationship? Have you ever been successful at completely rewriting the way someone views the world or, things that happen in it? It is a low percentage. What we end up doing is not accepting others and continuing this pattern over and over and over again. And we cause ourselves a lot of pain and we fracture a lot of relationships. All right, takeaway 4, choose optimism to let things roll off of you. I'm not saying it's easy, but when you retrain your brain to not take everything so seriously, it will eventually get better at that practice. There are statements that I use a lot. There is nothing I need to solve here. I use that one so often. Right when I'm getting ready to spit that word out that I want to reply to what someone said, I will say, there is nothing I need to solve here. Just that word lets me have a space to pause, and then I move on from it. Another one that I'll use is I'll say, it's okay for people to be wrong about me. It's not my job really to change their beliefs, right? I can continue to just be a positive person and let things fall where they may. So practice this. Challenge yourself to stay optimistic instead of following where the primitive brain wants to take you, and you get offended and defensive and you really want to change them, okay? Go with optimism. There's nothing I need to solve here. And my last takeaway is take responsibility for your own emotions. Own them. When we were kids, we repeated the old saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words may never hurt me. But wow, I don't think the majority of us are able to implement this as adults. We get so upset, so offended, so bothered by what people say. We allow it to take up space in our brains. We will derail our own plans because of it. We will buffer and do things that are hurting ourselves. And then we will sit there and view it as if we are a victim. I am feeling this way, and this is happening in my life because of what that person said or did. We need to drop the victim mentality and ask ourselves, why did what they said or did bother me so much? What is going on inside my brain that allowed me to get so upset by the words of another. I'm not saying it's easy, but we need to try to take these key takeaways and use them in our everyday life. Think about the times that you have felt the need to defend, or you were annoyed by the behavior or actions of someone else. Maybe someone cuts you off while driving. Your friend says something that triggers you. Your loved ones choose to live a lifestyle you don't agree with. A family member behaves poorly. Someone gives you advice about your issue in life and you didn't ask for it. How often are we even wrong about their intentions? Sometimes we just have absolutely no idea where they're coming from. Maybe that person that cut you off driving is having an awful day, something you don't have any clue about. Maybe the person that gives you unsolicited advice is reliving a completely terrible time in their life, and they want to help save you from pain. You are not inside their brain, and so you will never know where they are truly coming from. What would it look like if we just merely took notice of other people's behavior? We observed it, and we said, I wonder what's going on with them. What if we didn't feel the need to control it, to change it, to call them out for it? What would it take for you to just let others be the way that they are, and you don't pick up the negative emotional energy that they're projecting? You choose something else. You can choose peace, your own emotional peace. What other people do says more about them than it does about you. So look, this is our reality. You do not have control over other adults' behavior. The only thing you have complete control over is how you react, how you respond, how you control yourself. Problems arise when we try to control them rather than accepting that reality that they're experiencing. And remember, this is so important. Accepting what they say or do does not mean agreeing with. You can set up boundaries. You can remove yourself from it in a very emotional adulthood way, but you do not have to agree with it. Okay. A lot of times we get ourselves in trouble because we think we have to, if we're accepting it and not defending or arguing with it, we're agreeing with it. You're not. Let it be about them. I don't know what they're going through right now. Obviously, they don't know my entire situation to be able to advise me on it. Okay. So let's let go of this constant feeling that we have that what everyone says and does has to mean something about us, and we have to do something about it. It will reduce your own pain and suffering. I promise you, I have seen this in my own life. I'm not perfect. Sometimes the primitive brain takes charge and I say something or do something, but pretty quickly afterwards, I catch myself and I change course. But I don't do the knee-jerk reactions that I used to anymore. I ask myself those questions. Is there something here that I really need to solve? And can I just let them be wrong about me? All right, everyone, until next time, my hope for you is that you'll realize what an unmanaged mind creates in your life. When you allow yourself to get so wrapped up in other people's behavior that it's like become a job for you of solving this, right? Use your creative, beautiful brains for something else, okay? You can become more intentional. Just try implementing some of the tools that I've talked about today, and I know you will see a positive change in your life. As always, thank you for listening. Please click that like and share button so I can reach more individuals with these emotional management tools. And could you imagine the difference we could make if we were all more intentional with our emotions? I know I think about this all the time, and it truly is what drives me and makes me so passionate about coaching. Together, we can make the world a less defensive place, and we can bring down our emotional temperatures if we just put a little bit of effort forth to change what has been so autopilot for ourselves. All right, everyone, have a great day, and I will see you in a couple weeks.